This is TWiT.
In other app news, and we're all parents on this show, so this is going to be an interesting discussion, I have a feeling. A new app that aims to help parents that can't talk to their kids, apparently. It's called Ignore No More. It was developed by a frustrated mom who would call her kids only to have them not pick up or return her call. She had the idea for the app. She learned how to develop and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sure, I don't know if she worked with somebody or if she took it on entirely by herself. But basically, she created this app that gives her the power to remotely lock and disable functionality of her kids' phones until they register a call back to her. And, and of course, it's in the Play Store, so anybody can get it. I think it's like $5 per phone. So, if it's the parent and one kid, you're going to pay $10 to register it on two phones. Supposedly the app cannot be disabled by the kid. And I was kind of scanning through the FAQ to kind of read up on this because I'm like, how is that possible? The FAQ says the minute a child sets the app to airplane mode or turns it off, removes the battery, whatever, obviously the app can do nothing. The second it detects internet or cell tower, it will connect to the phone and then, of course, lock it if that's what it's supposed to do at that point. So the developer claims that there's no way to get around that locked that locked signal that comes from the parent if that signal has been sent and the app is installed. The FAQ also says that a child cannot uninstall the app without the parent's username or password. So they have to actually have that. So once the app is installed on the phone, and you guys are developers, so maybe you can figure out how this is possible. Once the app is installed on the kid's phone, it can then not be uninstalled without a username and password that passes through Ignore No More and has control over the phone enough to prevent it from being uninstalled. Is that possible? Is it possible for an app that's installed to prevent itself from getting uninstalled?
It doesn't sound possible. I honestly don't know the answer to this question off the top. And I read through the FAQ as well because I was like, how is it doing this? So it sounds like when the app is installed on the child's phone, for the first time, you grant it administrative access.
Okay.
In the settings, which is the thing that lets it lock your phone, right? And so then if the kid goes into administrative access and tries to deny it administrative access, it pings the parent phone and says, hey, your kid is messing with the settings. And if the parent, this is what the FAQ says, if the parent wants to uninstall the app from the child's phone, they have to actually open the app, enter in their password, and then the app lets you, remove the administrative access. It is hard for me to believe that the system doesn't let a user deny administrative access. Like I don't see how the child couldn't just remove the setting, but I don't know. Maybe Chris has more of an insight on this.
I've only looked in this area a little bit, but there's the device administrator section. I think it sounds possible. There's a bunch of permissions that you can request there. I use it in Action Launcher solely for turning off the screen when you tap the screen, but I think it sounds possible.
Yeah, I'm just
crazy.
Or if you factory reset the phone, although then the prime directive of the app is have my kid call me, and if not, it deactivates the phone entirely, and all you can do with that phone is call the parent essentially,
or call 911,
or call 911. Yes,
people,
good point.
Emergency contacts.
Yeah, in case of emergency. So if the kid is getting around it, then that prime directive is not being met. And the next time the parent sees the kid, that phone's probably being taken away. And some people in the chat room are like, if you're using this phone, you have problems. That's not my judgment to make because, hey, every parental decision and situation is very, very different. So I suppose you never know. I hope to never not have to use an app like this. I don't ever want to use an app like this.
Yeah, we don't have teenagers yet, Jason.
I know. So apparently it's a world I just don't understand, even though I feel like I should be able to understand. I am a parent, but not a parent of teenagers.
I sort of love the story about this developer. This woman, she's a mom, but she's also like an Iraq vet, and she's climbed, Mount Kilimanjaro, and she just decided, her kid didn't call her back, and she had never made an app before. But she was like, I should have an app. And she started like reading up on being an app developer and like made this app just kind of, on her own steam, just educating herself. And that just made me laugh. Like, I thought that was hilarious. Because, how many people say, oh, there ought to be an app for this.
Right.
And then how do I learn how to code apps? And then, then nothing happens. I think it's awesome that she built the app and got local news coverage, and we're talking about it here.
And they talked to her kid, who of course had this app installed on the phone, and he's like, yeah, I think it's a great idea for other people. I think it's a great idea. I didn't think it was a great idea for me, but it makes sense for other people. It's like, of course.
That was a pretty great news segment.
Lou in the chat room has some information as far as this is concerned. He's saying when you install an app that allows this kind of control, it warns you that the remote administrator can delete the phone. So that's kind of what you were talking about, Chris. There are a number of tools to use to prevent people from doing it. I don't think they can prevent an EEPROM reload. So there you go. So there are probably ways around this, but the kid's probably not going to get too far with that, though, because still got to go home with that phone. Then what? So there you go. But in general, let's try not to lock our kids' phones. And kids, listen to your parents. There we go.